Yes, a very warm welcome to Kraków, Poland's third largest city, whose magnificent architecture and hospitable people have turned this picturesque, medieval, almost untouched setting into one of the most popular new tourist destinations in Europe. Their team, Wisła, take their name from the river which runs through it, and who this year celebrate their centenary year by undertaking a massive refurbishment of their old Wisła Stadium, with building work, as you'll probably see throughout the coverage, well underway to make it into a modern 36,000-seater complex. Well, Mark Hughes has the ultimate respect for their host, who he describes as a footballing side, and he keeps faith with the 11 who drew at Anfield on Saturday after leading. Lucas Neal continues to operate at left back, demonstrating his versatility. Tugay continues to impress this season, a veteran of European competition for Galatasaray and Rangers. He'll be vital, while Messrs Nondar and McCarthy both similar experience, the latter a Champions League winner with Porto under Jose Mourinho.
Right, Blackburn. This is Roy Hodgson speaking, by the way. I think it's going to be a very interesting match this afternoon. The conditions are perfect for the game. A lot of international experience in the Blackburn team, and I think they're going to need that, especially at the start of the game, because the Polish teams invariably start at a very high pace. But I think if Blackburn can weather that and play as well as they did on Saturday against Liverpool, they have a good chance of getting a result here today.
Well, as for the hosts, Wisła are top of the Polish league and unbeaten domestically. They boast a Romanian goalkeeper, 5 Polish internationals, 2 Brazilians, 2 Serbians and an Argentinian. This is the club's 75th European tie, and they come into it off the back of a 6-0 win at the weekend. Despite that scoreline, though, they aren't known for their free scoring style.
It'll be very interesting to see the way they're going to play. The formation we've been given has them playing in a 4-4-2 formation, but often the Polish teams play with 2 wingers, 1 centre forward and 1 centre forward playing a little bit behind the other one. So I'm really quite interested to see exactly how they line up and how compact their play will be today.
And notice the officials are from Sweden, and we are underway on a marathon of UEFA Cup football on Channel 5, beginning here in Poland. And Mark Hughes, well, he attaches tremendous significance to their UEFA Cup campaign. He says after earning the right to be here with a terrific Premiership campaign last year, the plan is to win the home games and pick at least a point up on their travels. An early indication of Robbie Savage's intent to win the ball, and indeed he has been penalised for so doing. But the atmosphere is excellent. The conditions, as Roy mentioned, are ideal indeed. If anything, it might be a tad warm. It's been astonishingly warm here in Kraków today. Temperatures nudging the late 60s.
I don't think the players will be complaining about that. I think that it'll get cooler as the game goes on. And anyway, the Blackburn players are used to playing in all conditions, so I don't think that will bother them one little bit.
It was noticeable when the Blackburn players were training last evening that as the sun went down, the temperature plummeted, and it was -2 last evening, so it doesn't half drop as the sun disappears behind the stands. So it'll be preparation for all weathers today. The fans congregated on the opposite side to where we are currently watching the game. To the left is the building site, really, the beginnings of the massive refurbishment that this stadium is undertaking. And it will be an entirely covered stadium once it's finished, although, as you can probably notice already, there are no roofs on 2 of the stands. Tugay just exchanging passes. He likes to get a feel of the ball as often as possible in there.
I think this is quite important that Blackburn, now they've got hold of the ball, keep it for a while, make the Wisła team run around and take the sting out of the early part of the game, because you know that in these away games the opposing team's going to start at a very high pace, and if you can pass the ball around to the back for a little bit and take the sting out of it for a while, it can be a great advantage.
Very unhappy with the challenge made by Radovanovic, who indeed has stayed down after making the challenge. Foul on Oya. Went down clutching his face and has been in position since he hit the deck. His teammates are claiming that Oya was backing in and suggesting that it was a foul to them. Here's another look at it.
Yeah, nothing special there, I don't think. Over-ambitious challenge from the Polish winner. Don't take on the big guys that early on.
Look at the contrasting faces of the two managers. As I say, Mark Hughes has attached great significance to their European campaign. And he is in no mood to leave Poland today without something. Now, with a positive 4-4-2 formation and two out-and-out strikers, he is signalling his intent to score goals today. Here's Lucas Neal. On towards Nonda. Pedersen offering himself. They have been excellent defensively this season, the Polish league leaders. They've only conceded 5 goals in their 10 matches played. Another clean sheet at the weekend. So here's an opportunity for McCarthy, but he couldn't do anything other than find the Romanian goalkeeper, Dolha. Neal would pick that one off. Just rolls away from Pedersen. Nice turn by Paulista. Wyszynski. Tackle by Pedersen. Second one was a good one as well, leaving Błaszczykowski on the floor, claiming a free kick, not getting one. Player who came up against you, Roy. Now you're coaching Finland, of course, in the Euro 208 qualifiers.
Yeah, both Sobolowski and Wyszynski, I think, played against us. But to be honest, when you're preparing those games and you're playing against Poland, everyone's an Inski, and after a while, all the names begin to look alike. I recognise the faces more than the names these days. This is a quiet start, isn't it? And that will suit Blackburn. I thought the Poles would start much more fiercely than they've done, but it's really quite a low-key start, and if it stays that way, that will be very good for the Blackburn team.
Yes, certainly no high-tempo opening from the home side. In fact, if anything, Blackburn have settled very comfortably into their purposeful style. Here's Tugay. Now Lucas Neal. Pedersen offering himself. Tried to guide it in towards Nondar, but didn't reach the intended target. And Dudka back to his goalkeeper. There's Paulista trying to get the better of Tugay. He lost out. Błaszczykowski. Nice scampering run by Sobolewski. Cantoro, the Argentinian midfielder, not an international for Argentina. The play again by Błaszczykowski, who looks a real threat. It's a lovely ball in as well, and it was cleared hurriedly by Emerton and hacked away by Savage. And indeed, it's an opportunity for Bentley to counter for Blackburn here, having survived the first scare of the afternoon. And his shot was wayward, with both Nondar and McCarthy shouting for it ahead of it.
Good run from Emerton as well. He worked hard to get forward there and create the space for him to cut inside. And two excellent pieces of play there. First, a marvellous cross from the Wisła team, which was well dealt with, and then a very good counter-attack.
encouragement for both sets of players in that 45-second period. Here's McCarthy. Lovely back heel to bring in Morten Gams Pedersen, who has won the corner.
With the quality of his left foot, he'll be a bit disappointed. That wasn't an even better cross. There was two in the box and a third one arriving. It was a good crossing opportunity missed there.
I noticed the groan from you there when it hit the defender nearest to him.
I expected a bit more from him there. He's got a very good crossing ability. Interesting.
Trying to work the short one, but it very much didn't come off. Paulista bringing in Lashikovsky, who is clearly the most attacking outlet from the midfield. He's pushing up to a right wing position as often as he can, and hasn't dropped back at all, really, in the way that modern day right midfielders so frequently do. Friedel should prevent that from going for the corner, which he does, and prompts Lucas Neal away. Blackburn have met Polish opposition once before in the UEFA Champions League group stages in 1995. They lost 1-0 away to Legia Warsaw and then drew 0-0 at Ewood Park. So as yet they have neither beaten nor scored against Polish opposition, but they have a chance today to do that. As for Wisła, well, their greatest claim to fame is from a former player by the name of Pope John Paul II, who was not only the Bishop of Kraków for 20 years, but also he kept goal for one of their youth teams. And indeed, as you stride around the city of Kraków, you are reminded of the late Pope, who is fondly remembered by the people of this city, and indeed continues to draw millions of visitors to the city on a sort of pilgrimage here to pay their respects to the late Pope. Just a reminder that this marathon of football offers you the opportunity to send your comments via text. Text the word comment followed by your views and your name to 80088. We'll be keen to hear from you, or your thoughts about the ties tonight, or indeed any other footballing matter. And it'll cost you just 25p to comment maybe on that shot from David Bentley.
An excellent piece of work from Tugay, that, because he's being pushed into the back line, marking Paulista, who's dropping off the front, and he was very quick to intercept the ball and break away and put Bentley on the attack and give him another striking chance. He's getting his eye in. I think he's practicing from 25 metres to get his shots on target. The next one could be dangerous.
David Bentley was claiming that goalkeeper Dolhar got a touch to that. The referee certainly didn't feel that was the case. It's given away. Neal, though, is strong in the challenge. Here's Tugay, Savage, and back to Kishanishvili. Blackburn just happy to guide it across the back line and play a patient passing game. And indeed, as the away team, you'd expect them to do exactly that. Here's Emerton. Maybe he'll put the foot on the gas a little. Nondar just dwelt on it a little too long, and Wisła can break here if they're quick, but Kishanishvili ensured they could not prosper. Savage, who celebrated his 32nd birthday yesterday and was even presented with a cake in the team hotel, and he admits to being rather embarrassed by the whole thing. Ended up having to do a speech which he was unprepared for. well produce the first booking of the evening? It does. Bentley sent crashing to the floor. Referee quick to stamp his authority on this game, and I don't think Mihailovic can argue about...
I think he was lucky. I think you'd be very careful these days going up that close to referees and making contact with them in your protest, because that's one of the things that UEFA are working very hard to stamp out, I know. And in the last two matches we've played, we've been given very serious warnings about making any sort of protest whatsoever to the referees.
Now a chance for Neil, and he tries to make his way through, claims a penalty. The referee was well positioned and he immediately waved away the protest. Mark Hughes has come to the edge of his technical area to vent his fury. Suddenly broke for Lucas Neil. Well, it wasn't too much of an attempt to win the ball, was there?
Wasn't too much of an attempt to make a foul either, I don't think, to be honest. If you get penalties for that, there'll be a lot of penalties in the game.
You can understand Mark Hughes getting frustrated, though, as the manager that didn't have it in his favour.
Yeah, we all like them to go in our favour.
Here's Bentley again. It's opened up for him a couple of times already. Emerton breaking from the right-back position. Headed away firmly by Kleber. But Blackburn can build once more. Here's Tugay. Tried to thread it through, and indeed was applauded for attempting it by Benny McCarthy. That is a trademark Tugay pass, just trying to slip it in between two defenders and release the advancing striker.
His position at the moment too, guys, was very important for Blackburn. He's important in terms of starting attacks, and he's very important in terms of picking up the second balls when Kiershanvili or who's the other one in there?
Oh yeah. Blackburn throw. Mondar showing for it, but he was well and truly closed in by three Wisła players. Sobolewski doing his best. Cleared by Bashinsky. Good turn by Radovanovic. Good footwork. And a good opportunity too for Mihailovic, and well, it just broke for Radovanovic, but he tosses his head back in frustration at not being able to do more with it. A scare in the Blackburn area.
It's like he didn't touch it on one, wasn't it? Because Lucas Neil had to come in very far to cover, and it left the number 16 totally free there.
They're on by Savage. Bentley, who's been influential so far, coming in from that right-hand side, has found quite a bit of space when he's moved in from that right touchline. It's worth noting that while their hosts today have clocked up more than 70 European games, Blackburn are pretty well novices in Europe. Only indeed their first ever campaign was as recently as '94. And in the 18 games they've played, they've only won 2 of them, and the second of those was in qualifying against Salzburg. Qualifying, that is, for the group stages. Emerton, you can see, is in need of a new shirt.
They might not be very experienced as a football club in terms of the number of games they've played in Europe, but the players are very experienced. If you look at the number of international caps out there, then I don't think there'll be anything that those players haven't come across before playing here today. So that's a great advantage for Mark. An excellent piece of play there.
Yeah, Bentley and McCarthy combining well. They tried to thread it through for Nondar, but it was never going to find him. McCarthy began the season playing alongside Jason Roberts, the former Wigan Athletic striker, and when there was a injury to Roberts, Nondar, who was signed on loan as the transfer deadline loomed, immediately came in to replace him in September. Neil driving it forward, headed away by Dudka. They look very powerful in the air at the back, Wisła Kraków. But Blackburn are an extremely good football side on the deck, and maybe they'll try and exploit the amount of pace they have in their side. Here's Emerton. Again, another demonstration of how good the Polish side are in the air. A crunching header away by Dudka once more. Here's Bentley. Emerton. Goalkeeper came and then, well, it was hesitant, and Morten Gantz Pedersen probably should have scored.
Well, I'd like to have seen him head it. I think volleying those balls is a very difficult skill. I think it's much easier to hit the target and keep the ball down if you dive and head it, and I think someone who likes to head the ball might have scored in that situation. He's falling very kindly. He catches it on the end of his toe, doesn't he? Doesn't make a clean contact, but it's not easy to make clean contacts with volleys coming that far.
Meanwhile, straight at the other end, Wisła Kraków have broken into Blackburn territory. Good tackle though by Emerton, denying any opportunity for Paulista. Good header away by Oya. Here's Tugay trying to bring it under control, and that is beautifully done. Savage, and now Morten Gantz Pedersen. McCarthy was crowded out there. Cantoro has won the free kick for his side and is in a hurry to take it. Tugay had no chance of retreating before he could dispatch that free kick.
It's a very sad state of affairs in professional football when players feel the need to do that.
Claims from both sides that their player was beaten to the ball. Goal kick is the verdict. So a chorus of whistles from the home supporters. Maybe this will give us an indication as to who got the last touch.
Decision's okay by me. I'm not a referee, of course.
Indeed. A former Blackburn manager, though, so I think I know whose camp you're in. Morten Gantz Pedersen did his best to keep that on, but couldn't quite do so. Blackburn's run of fixtures in the group, remember, a group of 5, and you play 2 of the sides at home, 2 of the sides away. We'll meet FC Basel of Switzerland at Ewood next, before meeting Feyenoord in Holland and completing their task away, sorry, I beg your pardon, at home to Nancy.
It's a good group, isn't it? I mean, I think that they must think they have a very good chance of qualifying for the final stages in a group like that.
Mark Hughes was pleased with the distances that his 2 away games meant his side had to travel. A flight of around about 2 hours to Kraków, just over, and obviously around an hour to Holland, of course. If you are being drawn away from home, you quite like the preparation to be as comfortable as possible, don't you?
It's nice if you can avoid going to the Far Eastern European countries, like we've just done in Armenia and Kazakhstan.
How are you enjoying life in charge of Finland?
Yeah, very much so. It's been very good. Enjoying it very much. It was nice to get back to Finland after experiencing Armenia and Kazakhstan for 10 days, but even that was an interesting experience for us. And for me, anyway.
Are there places you've visited before?
No. I've been to a few of the other stans, the Tajikistans and Turkmenistans, Uzbekistan, but not Kazakhstan.
wonder if that's a new geographical term, the stars.
The stars, yes.
Let's begin it if it hasn't already.
The Russian steppes, I think we used to call it at school. I don't know if they still do.
So that's the cultured version.
Right.
Here's Tugay. Talking of culture, cultured player indeed. There's Morten Gams Pedersen getting it from Lucas Neal and threading it through to Savage, who really couldn't do anything with it. Two players descended upon him. Here's Cantoro, and now Paulista. Picking out Błaszczykowski, trying to at least. Neal coming away with it. Savage with the tackle, got the ball, says the referee. Here's Emerton. Forward by Oya. Neal, who'd continued his run forward. Emerton forced backwards to Oya. You mentioned the experience in Blackburn's side, even if as a club they haven't masses of pedigree in Europe, and Oya's just one player who has had tremendous success in European competition at PSV.
I would think it might only be Bentley and Nonda, who haven't actually played much international football. I mean, Bentley's young, I'm sure he's played for the England under-21 teams and the like, and Nonda, I'm not so sure about his record. I know he was in Paris Saint-Germain and in France, but all the other players have played a lot of times for their country, and in fact are even stars in their country.
Just noticed there a booking for Nonda, who you alluded to. Actually lost a Champions League final for Monaco in 2004. It was the day that McCarthy, his strike partner, won it with Porter. Once cost Monaco £15 million when he came from Rennes.
Did he not play at Paris as well, Paris Saint-Germain? Dangerously breaks out this ball.
It does indeed. Kleber, the Brazilian it was, trying to find Radovanovic. Paulista stayed in there, but once he'd come a little bit behind him with the cross, all he could do was get a head on it and couldn't really direct it, therefore. It's a good ball in. It was just behind the striker, and he had to pivot and turn his head in mid-air almost to try and make something out of it. But Roy was talking about how Kleber, the Brazilian, coming forward is a powerful weapon from the back line. It was his sortie forward that created the opportunity.
It doesn't look like a good pitch for running with the ball, though. It looks very slow, the pitch.
Yeah, when Blackburn were training on it last night, I mean, on this kind of distance it looks perfectly smooth and even, but it was quite long, the grass, and quite firm and bobbly underfoot.
It seems to be difficult for the players to get any real pace in the passes, or any real pace when they're running with the ball. I'm surprised they're not using their extra man in midfield to greater advantage, the Wisła team. They got this Santoro, is it, and Sobolewski really playing alone against Savage. I'm quite surprised that they're not using that better, because two guys actually dropping so deep to pick up Paulista, leaving one of the two centre-backs, or what's his name? I never pronounce his name, I'm afraid. Kishinashvili. Not used to it. You show how much commentating I do. What's his first name? Might be easier for me.
Well, if you want to call him Zurab, you call him Zurab.
Zurab, yes.
And we'll take it from there.
Thank you. Because one of them is able to play libero all the time.
Just at the moment they're having to defend against Błaszczykowski, who settles for winning the corner.
Interested at Blackburn leaving two players up from the corner kick, and the Poles have quite bravely decided to defend that with two as well. I like to see that. So
good ball in. It was headed away by Emerton, and it settled for the shot and the deflection. Cantoro will claim the goal. The stadium erupts. The deflection really is the key in this little exercise. but Cantoro, the Argentinian, will claim, and Brad Friedel is beaten. Wicked deflection on the shot. It just sat up from the corner, and he hit it.
Well, the problem, of course, is there's no one on the edge of the box, so he's got a lot of time to get the ball under control and prepare his shot. They're pushing out well. A lot of bodies in there. I'm afraid that's how deflections happen.
There's nothing Brad Friedel can do once it strikes Savage.
But unfortunately, the Blackburn players needed to get closer to him to really get a better block on the shot. Once the shot's coming through into that area, a crowded area, deflection's always possible.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the birthday boy, Bobby Savage, might well be the man who has put the visitor, beg your pardon, the home side ahead. But possibly there was two Blackburn players involved, and that was definitely Savage who hit that goal bound. And they've done him a disservice by saying it was he that got the touch, but this was definitely his shot. Two-handed parry by the goalkeeper.
He and Tugai have been very influential in the Blackburn midfield so far, and they're not really getting an awful lot of help defensively from the two wide players. Morton's tucking in a bit better than David Bentley, but neither of them are tucking in very far. I would think that if they really wanted to, the Polish team, as I said before, the two central midfield players could really outnumber Savage and play around him quite easily. It's important now that Blackburn get a grip on the game again very quickly and hopefully get a quick equaliser, because that's what's required after you go a goal to nil down. You've really got to put the opponents under immediate pressure and threaten their goal, and that's what Blackburn are trying to do now, and it would be good if they could get a goal.
Well, this is the shot. It was Tugai, wasn't it? Thought it hit Savage behind him, but it was Tugai in front of him who got the telling touch. The most important statistic is that it is 1-0, and it has prompted the home supporters to unfurl an enormous flag on the opposite side of the ground from where we are currently spectating. And after having pretty much silenced the home supporters, they are now in full voice once more, and they have an opportunity to cheer on Błaszczykowski. And here's Paulista, gathered in by Friedel. Never really got enough on it, the Brazilian, much to Brad Friedel and Blackburn's delight. No offside. Błaszczykowski looking up, and his pass was sensible. There was no one in the area, of course. It was scuffed really by Paulista. Foul by Savage. Must apologise to him afterwards for saying he scored the own goal on the day after his birthday. I'm sure he'll forgive me, especially if he can get the equaliser. It's Błaszczykowski again, who has been impressive, the 20-year-old. He's given Lucas Neal a real examination. Here's Paulista. Another one for Cantoro to hit. And again, he scuffed it. He's getting these little half opportunities on the edge of the Blackburn area.
He's unhappy about that, Tugai, because Paulista got in between him and Zurab there, and I don't think he's too happy about the situation. He's gesticulating at Morton, I think, to do a better job defensively.
Worth bearing in mind that this is Only the first of 3 UEFA Cup group games, back-to-back on 5. After this is completed, we go to Turkey for Beşiktaş against Spurs, and then we complete the evening with Newcastle United, also against Turkish opposition, Fenerbahçe. You need not move from your seats, maybe to get the odd sandwich or something, but football all the way. Here's Lucas Neal. Tugay. Neal brings in Nonda. Now Morten Gamst Pedersen. Couldn't get his pass away. He's had precious little change down the Blackburn left-hand side so far. He's been closed in very, very quickly and efficiently by the Wisła captain, Marcin Baszinski. Normally such a good outlet for Blackburn, but hasn't got going so far today. It's been more Bentley's influence down the right and Emerton on the overlap. And those two are combining once more. Here is Morten Gamst Pedersen, who of course ironically had the best chance of the game for Blackburn. The volley, which Roy felt he may have tried to attack with his head.
Oh, but that's because I'm a diving headers man. I learned from Boy Robson many years ago, diving headers are the key.
A glimpse there of the man who's been marking him so well, other than that moment really when he was free inside the Wisła area. Here's Savage. McCarthy, it's a good ball, there's no offside either. Nondar's made a run, I think he was trying to pick him out as well, but it's going to be counter-attack time because Blackburn have pushed several players forward in that build-up. Foul by Savage, who claims he got the ball.
Well, it's an excellent piece of tracking back. There are a lot of players at wrong side of the ball there, Blackburn. That could have been a very dangerous situation. Lucas Neal got his marking positions right on the winger, which was fortunate because he was looking up to try and play the ball over Lucas Neal's head but couldn't do so, and in the time it took for him to realise he couldn't play the ball, Savage got back in.
I think it's fair to say that the right-hand side of Wisła is the side on which they are targeting, shall we say, in terms of their play. They're moving the ball from left to right as often as possible. They maybe are aware that Lucas Neal, albeit that he's a very good left-back, is certainly a player who favours the right side.
No, I wouldn't think it's anything to do with that. I think it's more to do with the position of Paulista and Cantoro. I think both of them want to play in this sort of inside right position, and obviously they think the right wing is their major attacking weapon.
It was Cantoro who once again was shaping to try and let one go, but it was an easy gather for Friedel in the end. Shot this time came in from Shenshuk. But Wisła are getting those balls on the edge of the Blackburn area, and just at the moment Blackburn are just out of sorts. Here's Błaszczykowski once more. Paulista. Back to the captain Baszinski. Paulista once more. Błaszczykowski once more. Tackled by Tugay.
He's doing all his work in the last third of the field defensively, Tugay.
Well, that is not part of the plan at all. There's just another view of that half chance, we'll call it, for Marek Shenshuk. And now Błaszczykowski is in need of treatment. Tackled by Morten Gamst Pedersen, which was a clean one, but on the follow-through he caught the right winger.
Yeah, good observation.
Referee keen to ensure that the trainers are not brought on to administer some physio, and we can get on with the game straight away. Here's Neal. Sportingly giving it back to Wisła.
albeit some 85 metres from where the incident took place.
Officially, this is the first time that Wisła Kraków have ever met English opposition. But, I was speaking to one of the local officials who tells me that on their 30th anniversary, this is their 100th anniversary, on their 30th anniversary, they met Chelsea in a friendly. There's confirmation of a booking for descent, I think, against Shenzhen.
Yeah, it was. They're very strong this year on descent, the referees. It's their pet thing to look for at the moment.
Shenzhen, the second player to be booked. There's a clearance from Kishanishvili. Neil then getting it. And Pedersen trying to bring it away. He was impeded. The referee was about to blow, but he allowed the advantage to go Blackburn's way, and then Nondar was felled. And he's won the free kick. Kleber, the offender. Even though it was Kleber who took the tumble.
It's a professional foul, wasn't it? Stopped good counter-attack there.
Taken. Friedel to gather it comfortably in the arms and try and prompt Blackburn away. There's two guy who, as Roy is observing, has done so much of his work deep in Blackburn territory rather than where you'd like to see him advance. An indication that Wisła have pushed Blackburn back as the half has gone on. Nondar brings in Gams Pedersen towards McCarthy, and the shot from Nondar, and it was a whisker away, and it was a beautiful combination between the two centre forwards. McCarthy brought it down and Nondar hit it, brushed the side netting.
Stopped the handball, didn't they? The Polish team were hoping for a handball decision which didn't come, and as a result they didn't block got anywhere near as well as they could have done.
Taught even at youngest levels to play to the wrist. And he just stopped, claiming that was a handball. That's where he set a chest.
So many things we're taught when we're young that we should do, but we still don't do them.
Bentley, meanwhile, on the counter for Blackburn. Was he felled? No, says the referee. He was well positioned. Guides it forward, trying to find Stanovic. That's it. Blackburn have had their moments in this half. They trail 1-0, but they have had the volley for Morten Gams Pedersen and shot by Nondar moments ago, which will have encouraged them that they can find a way through stubborn back line. Here is McCarthy trying to turn and hit it. Two guy then got plenty of venom on it. It's a corner.
Good play. That's going to be a major problem for the Wisła team. Blackburn can continue to feed those balls into people's feet in the penalty area and get forward and support them, and they're going to create goal chances.
Dudka who got the thigh out. Two guys hovering on the edge of the area. Pedersen waiting to swing it in. Plenty of players on the near post. They have another corner. Billy trying to descend upon the in-swinging ball.
He's defending with 11 back, the Polish team.
One of those 11. Corner. Sure.
No one on the far post, that could be interesting. But he might be looking to come in late there.
Emerson doesn't get time to run. It's gone over them all, and it was aimed at Nanda. And post. And Nanda.
Eternal argument, players on the post or not.
Well, Poland is a very strange place, and we're having problems at the moment, as you've heard, with Ali Mann's mic. So we're going to throw over to London and get our commentary from Tony Jones.
Thank you, Colin. Well, Wisła Kraków in front with that goal from Kantora, the deflection of Tugay. Blackburn Rovers will be happy with the way in which they've performed during this first half, but disappointed that they conceded that goal. Plenty of effort from Blackburn in the opening 45 minutes or so. Wisła Kraków currently top of the Polish league. They've survived 2 qualifying rounds already. Successful against Iraklis of Greece in the first knockout round. Resulted in the departure of their coach, Dan Petrescu. It's now Dragomir Okura who's in charge of the team currently leading the Polish league. Blackburn Rovers, who've been in such good form in the Premiership of late. Successful in the previous round against Salzburg. 2-0 home win in the second leg after a 2-2 draw on the plastic pitch in Salzburg. Okura there, who took over when Petrescu was dismissed at the start of last month. The worry for Blackburn Rovers in this first half is that they haven't created a great deal. There was the one shot from Robbie Savage, which was well dealt with by Dola. We've had 1 extra minute at the end of this first half. It's 1 minute that we will have in total. It's Wisła Kraków who lead by 1-0 at half-time. Kantora the scorer after 28 minutes following the deflection of Tugay.
Well, Roy Hodgson alongside me has been talking half-time about the tactics of both sides, and you're intrigued by the way it's gone tactically so far, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the major turning point could be if Blackburn could get Tugay further forward. At the moment, he's having to occupy himself with a second centre-forward, Paulista, who's dropping deep. And as a result, it's giving Blackburn a 5-man back line, but it's weakening their midfield, of course, and Sobolowski is able to play as a midfield sweeper, you know, pretty much unopposed, because Savage can't play against the pair of them in there. So I would really like to see Tugay get forward a bit more, and maybe the centre-backs take a bit more responsibility for Paulista, or at least Tugay trying to screen him off rather than maybe marking him from behind.
Yeah, he looked a frustrated man on occasions in the first half, Tugay. Would rather be creating, wouldn't he?
He's the man, I think, he's done a great job, but he's the man who can deliver that final pass to the 2 forwards. And I think the 2 forwards, if they made runs behind the defence, would cause them problems. But at the moment, the possession in the middle of the field hasn't really been good enough to get the ball in there that often.
Well, it's worth noting that Blackburn Rovers are on a 7-game unbeaten run. which includes 4 wins in their last 5 games, halted by that Craig Bellamy equaliser for Liverpool at Anfield on Saturday. So they are a side who you would believe have it in them to come from this position, and maybe Tim Sherwood's prediction will come true. Here's an early opportunity for them to examine Savage, and he was off balance, and it was always going away from the goal.
If they can keep those movements going, to be interesting. If Bentley gets off that line and starts moving in field and creating some space for Emerton to get forward, that'll be one major weapon for them down the right-hand side.
Nice promising way to start the second half. They came out, Blackburn Rovers, a lot earlier than the home side. Mark Hughes got them out there and ready to go. They mean business. Foul there by Tugay. Mistimed rather than anything malicious. The foul on Blaszczykowski, who has been impressive so far.
He's a real winger, isn't he?
Absolutely. Shenshuk operating on the left side. They have 2 genuine wingers. Wisła.
Yeah, you can't put a cigarette paper between Tugay and Paulista there. They're marking each other.
Maybe it'll be down to the fullbacks like Emerton to try and change things. Here he comes. Very gifted going forward, of course. He's very much more a right midfielder or even right winger rather than right fullback, but he's adept at playing right fullback as well. Here's Morten Gams Pedersen, now Tugay.
Got him on the ball there, the runs weren't bad either. Took a bit too long to deliver it.
Emerton forced backwards by Shenshuk. Morten Gams Pedersen. Now Oya. Bentley shows for him. The demeanour of the 2 coaches there was testament to the way they're feeling. Mark Hughes looked pretty agitated and was urging probably the tempo of Blackburn Rovers to up a gear or 2. It's McCarthy. No foul. If he'd have been able to have pivoted and hit it, which he was not successful in trying. The Wisła coach, by the way, is a 52-year-old Serbian, Dragomir Okuka, and he took over from Dan Petrescu, the former Chelsea player, who had previously only been in charge since December and was sacked in September. Now here's Nondar. Great opportunities, worked for himself, and a great save. It really was a good save by Dolhart.
They created much more at the start of this second half for Blackburn. That must be very positive for Mark to see the team getting forward much more. And I think these centre forwards could get behind the back players. I'm not convinced that there'll be a depth the Wisła back four if Nonda and McCarthy can make more runs behind them.
He did well there, Nondar. I mentioned Dan Petrescu was sacked. It came after they'd lost the first leg of the UEFA Cup match against Iraklis Salonika at home here 1-0. And then they drew at home to one of the lowlier teams in the Polish league, and that was the end of his short career in charge. So they have lost a game here at their own stadium, albeit in Europe, not domestically, so that's an encouraging sign as well for Blackburn. In fairness to Wisła, the Polish side then reacted superbly in the second leg to win 2-0 away in Greece, which was no mean feat. And thus they are in the group stages of the UEFA Cup to come up against McCarthy in Cup. Well, that was a good save by Dolhart to keep McCarthy out. He hasn't had too many saves to make, and the two coaches will have been encouraged and discouraged. Blackburn have started better, and there was a little more agitation on the face of the Wisła coach there, noticeably so.
It's interesting, the wide midfield players are coming off the line much more now. That's certainly, we've seen Bentley do it twice, and now we've seen Morton Gabs-Petson coming in off the line and getting into more central positions. I think that will be a very useful weapon for Blackburn if they do that. I don't know. It'll ask questions at least of the Wisła midfield. We haven't seen too many questions asked of them in the first half. They've been able to play virtually man for man in there.
Fascinatingly poised game, which Blackburn trail, but as Bentley hits it aimlessly over, maybe the Wisła coach, our Cooker, is a little concerned that his side have now been pushed back more than he would have liked. This the first of 3 UEFA Cup ties back-to-back live on 5, and we're starting with a real intriguing little tie here in Poland. Kishanishvili feeling the back of his head and protesting his innocence. Well, that was a graphic description of what Wisła felt had happened. An elbow. It was more like a throw, a wrestling throw, than an elbow, wasn't it? On Radovanovic.
Yeah, I'm not certain about the last part of it.
Lucas Neal. Oya. Savage. Now Emerton. McCarthy stumbling at an inopportune moment. Paulista. Well, he and Tugai might as well exchange shirts at the end of the game, because the two of them have been next to each other throughout the game so far. They'll know each other pretty well by the end of 90 minutes. Here's Błaszczykowski. Neal for company. Baczynski. Now Cantoro. Nice ball, picks out Szczęsniuk. Breaks for Paulista, does it well. He was just put off by Bentley as he was about to connect, and it was a good challenge by the Blackburn player.
Was.
Here's Tugai. That's what Blackburn want to see him do. Spreading the play from the central midfield area. Bringing in Emerton and then Bentley. Mark Hughes in a hurry to get the ball back in play. That was good defending by Bentley coming back from the midfield to stop Paulista connecting. Well, I mentioned that Wisła were top of the Polish league, and just to give you an idea of their pedigree, they've won 4 of the last 6 Polish titles, but they have been unable to then qualify for the Champions League group stages, going out in the qualifying rounds. And for those of you who are coming in, and I'm sure you are in your droves from work and school, it's the first of 3 live games, back-to-back on 5, and Blackburn are trailing it 1-0 to the side leading the Polish league, Wisła Kraków. It was a goal which was well struck by Mauro Cantoro, but as Friedel looked as though he had the shot covered, it deflected off Tugai and wrong-footed the Rovers keeper and just entered the net almost pitifully. But that is the difference between the two sides, and it's been noticeable that if Wisła ended the first half powerfully, it is Blackburn who have started the second half in the ascendancy. And there are encouraging signs that they can find a way back into the contest as Bentley guides it in. It's a good header as well, and Savage has definitely scored this time. Happy birthday, Robbie Savage. He got a cake last night from his teammates. He had to do a speech. Maybe he's going to have to come up with another one.
Yes, good goal. Took it well.
There were encouraging signs, weren't there? And it was a great ball in and a really well taken header by Robbie Savage.
Perfectly placed. It was an excellent ball forward from Tugai in the first instance to, I think it's to Nonda, was it, or to McCarthy? Nonda, I think it was, that picked up the pass.
Lovely cross with a left foot by Bentley. That's a really good jump by Robbie Savage. Terrific technique.
Justice has been done because they haven't deserved to lead the game by 1 goal to nil. Wisła. The draw is a much fairer reflection of what we've seen happening on the field. So it's important now for Blackburn to keep this for.
And there was Robbie Savage clearing up at the back, showing his value as a midfield player. And no wonder Mark Hughes was so quick to sign him on when he became manager of Blackburn. Bentley's in some discomfort meanwhile. This was the challenge. It's a painful one, isn't it?
It's his ankle maybe, is it?
He's picked himself up without the need for treatment. And he's trying to run it off, but he is hobbling at the moment, David Bentley. Here's Cantora, who's been credited with the goal that gave Wisła the lead, albeit that has now been cancelled out.
They could go on to win this, Blackburn, if they continue to believe in themselves in the second half and continue playing the same way. Then I think they could go on to win this game. They're getting the ball forward much quicker and asking questions of the back line, which they didn't do maybe enough times in the first half.
Well, there was certainly a feeling in the studio that Blackburn could come back and win this game, and everyone may well have been right with their predictions. But above all, they have forced Wisła to go backwards. They were playing with a lot of freedom, certainly as the first half ended, and now they're having to retreat. McCarthy on the chase. He might get there, you know. It was an awkward ball to defend, and Dolhart uncomfortably side-footed it clear on the volley. Mihailovic. Easy header for Emerton. Two-guy looking, but I think he's going to get booked for that challenge. He is. Two-guy goes into the book.
It was his second late challenge, wasn't it? So he got away with the first one, but unfortunately you don't always get away with two of them.
It was probably more the combination of challenges rather than that one specifically that earned him the yellow card. Now Savage is going to get a talking to. Paulista spinning away dramatically from the challenge on him. I don't know what language they're communicating in, but whatever it is, maybe it's French, if you take my meaning.
Welsh and Brazilian might be some sort of connection there. Portuguese, sorry.
Bashinsky. Now Blaszczykowski. He's done well. And they tried to field Sobolewski, but Sobolewski fell to the floor. Two guys spreading it out to Bentley. Emerton charging forward. Here's McCarthy. Bentley again. Aimed towards Nondar. Good foot in though by Kleber. So we're just past the hour mark in the opening group game of UEFA Group E. And Blackburn have come from one down to level it, courtesy of a lovely header by Robbie Savage. Well, that was never going to be a penalty, and indeed, all it's done is cause anger. Kishanishvili incensed that Radovanovic threw himself to the floor there. Referee was having none of it. And rightly so. Bentley, Emerton. Bentley once more. It was his cross that picked out Robbie Savage earlier for the goal. Here he is again. Emerton, good delivery. Goalkeeper came, didn't really get there. Pedersen threw himself in.
They were lucky there. The Polish team were lucky to survive that. The goalkeeper was wrong coming out for the ball.
It was a brave challenge by Morten Gams Pedersen.
Yep.
Goalkeeper was never going to get there, was he?
No. Well, they're taking over the game more and more. Of course, the pitch is getting wetter now, and the players might have a problem with their footing, but it's easier maybe to move the ball. A bit more pace in the game.
Oya poised. Pedersen to take. Well, he was obviously aiming for two guy outside the area. Offside flag has gone up. It doesn't matter what happens now. Nondar's shot going wide anyway.
His passing's been excellent at the start of this second half. Two guy. That's the fourth or fifth time he's picked people out. Once or twice with quite long passes as well, and it's putting the Polish back four on the back foot, and meaning that Blackburn can take over the initiative, and I think that's important for them to take the initiative for this game.
Yeah, here he is again.
Another great pass.
Yeah, it was what you were alluding to earlier. He spent so much of the first half chasing back, trying to cut out Paulista, that he had precious little time to distribute, which is his strong point.
I would have thought Mark might have spoken about that at half-time. Interesting to hear, because certainly Uya's pushing forward much quicker to look to take responsibility for him every time he steps over the halfway line, Paulista. And they're screening now rather than marking, which is, I think, a better solution.
Here is Paulista. Nearest to him this time, Robbie Savage. Nondar trying to come away with it. Cantoro. Shenshuk. Mihailovic. Nice play, sold Robbie Savage and two guy.
Good block.
They haven't operated in the Blackburn half on too many occasions in this second half. This has been a rare moment for them to express themselves going forward. Good challenge by Emerton. The shot goes wide from the advancing fullback Bashinsky. He hit it well. It was always going beyond the post, but it hit the side netting, and the fans on this side felt it was worth jumping up and heralding a goal. It was an optical illusion. Two guy. That was the man that hit it, the captain, Marcin Bashinsky. Bentley switches play. Here's Lucas Knibb. Nondar tried to get it, it just bounced beyond him. Emerton coming close, Savage winning it back. Two guy wanted it, didn't get it. Here's Pedersen. Looks like Savage has stayed down.
Burley is a brave challenge going in there between the two of them, and I think he's taken a kick.
Well, there's an indication that all is not well in the Wisła camp currently. Piotr Broszek taking the place of the left winger Marek Szczęszczuk. Coach Okuka was becoming more and more agitated as the second half wore on. Blackburn physio David Fever just checking with Robbie Savage that he can run this one off.
Yes, they won't want to lose him. He's an important element in the midfield, especially in a game like this. They won't want to have to replace him. But he's walking okay. I'm sure he'll go back on again. Two guys were trying to stop the ball in the circle by the corner flag there. He missed by about 4 centimetres.
Well, the target, Mark Hughes was saying last evening in the press conference, 7 points. That's what he believes is sufficient to take Blackburn through in the group stages. So 2 home wins and a point away from home is a minimum. I think Cantoro's going to get booked, he is. Well, they're on course for that away point in their opening game, but there is still plenty of time to go in this one. The referee didn't like that challenge one bit. And looking at the replay, you can understand why. Here's Pedersen.
That's a good ball in.
Mondar tried to spin off McCarthy, but McCarthy couldn't chest it into his path. The flag's gone up against McCarthy. That was the foul. Two-guy. And once more, really is pulling the strings all of a sudden. Emerton, Oya, Bentley, trying to turn away and was felled. Cantoro aghast at that decision. Blackburn are truly dominating now. Mondar under pressure. 3 players swarmed round him.
He's working hard, Mondar. He's working hard to try and get behind the defenders, but he's also tracking back quite well. He's really pulled his weight up front today.
Radovanovic. Challenge by Two-guy was a good one. Good skills by Mihailovic, but he's not got away from Emerton. Maybe he will now. Wins a corner off Oya. '25th minute of the second half, and realistically it's the first time that Dragomir Okuka's side have had any kind of pressure in the second half exerted on Brad Friedel in the Blackburn goal. Really good clearing header by Nondar, who'd come back. Kashikovsky looking for it. Good ball in as well, cleared by Two-guy, who is like a magnet at the moment. The ball seems to be finding him as much as he's finding the ball.
But the ball likes him, you see.
Pedersen caught out there. It's a very good run from the back again from the skipper. Marcin Bashinsky has been trying to advance down that right-hand side as often as possible to combine with Błaszczykowski. You might recall him hitting a fierce drive into the side netting earlier. Bentley. Here's Tugay again in space. Paulista trying his best to close him in, but not before he can distribute the ball once more to Pedersen. Thumped away by Dudka. Roy was referring to the fact that the pitch was slickening up as the night air has begun to dominate, and it's certainly helping Blackburn pass it around the pitch a lot more efficiently, isn't it?
Yeah, the ball doesn't seem to be sticking quite as much, but it's been a good game second half.
Much better game for Blackburn.
If they really believe in themselves, I'm sure they can still go and win this. They have the ability.
Around 400 or 500 Blackburn Rovers fans have made the trip to Kraków. I'm sure many, many thousands more crowded around your televisions at home, watching your side and feeling a lot more confident that you will come back from Poland with something. The offside flag raised. Piotr Broszek, the man caught. It's a good decision. Fractional, but correct.
The two front players for Wisła are not really causing any problems at all at the moment, and Cantora is jogging around the middle of the field, so really I think there's a great opportunity for Blackburn here to punish them.
Here's Oya. Bentley, Emerton, Nonda, kept it in. Emerton once more. Now Oya.
Is that Lucas Neal making that run there?
It's a good run as well.
It's a long way from left back.
This time last week, of course, Lucas Neal was about to embark on a 24-25 hour flight home. I say home, well, returning from Sydney back to Blackburn. International players are well travelled, and Robbie Savage is one of them during his Welsh days, and he almost had his second goal of the evening, but before it could do any damage, it hit the defender in front of him. But Robbie Savage is making some good runs. Now then, this is going to be a bit of a reshuffle. Jason Roberts, an out-and-out striker. Morten Gamps Pedersen, a left-side midfielder. What's Mark Hughes thinking of now, do you think?
I don't know how he'll play the three of them. Maybe Nonda would drop a bit deeper. Or is that Benny McCarthy's drop deeper? Number 10, is that Benny?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe he'll drop him slightly deeper.
Another indication of
play like a trident in there, you know, with McCarthy in behind the front two. Could be interesting. Roberts could get hold of the ball up there. He'd have close support from McCarthy. Could be a very interesting move.
Well, this is the first of 3 UEFA Cup ties, live on 5, and we're very interested in hearing what you think about this tie, the next 2 this evening. Anything you like, really, to do with football. Text number 80088 and put the word comment before any of your thoughts on tonight's football. Cost you 25p, and we welcome them. Any thoughts you may have. Of course, if we don't like them, we might not put them out, so don't get too insulting about anybody, won't you? Concerns on the face of the Wisła Kraków coach as his side have another corner to defend. Roberts holding it up, looking for support, getting support as well. Well, it was 2-on-1 for a moment there. McCarthy and Nondar on the far, two guys hitting it speculatively. Has a reputation and indeed has scored one or two fierce distance drives. Mark Hughes a lot calmer. Mark Bowen he just got a glimpse of there. Seemed a little less relaxed than his manager. Mark Hughes was recounting one of his previous visits to Poland when he scored for Manchester United in the Cup Winners' Cup semi-final against Legia Warsaw. That was a semi-final which they went on to win, of course, and then won the final itself, the Cup Winners' Cup, now defunct, of course, against Barcelona. And, of course, Mark Hughes scored in the final as well. A wonderful goal, as I recall. Now he'll be watching his side defend against Paulista. And really, that's the first save that Brad Friedler's had to make in the second half, and he made it well. Blackburn trying desperately not to give away a corner, and indeed Emerton has won a free kick for his side. Błaszczykowski, the offender.
It's where goalkeepers earn their money, isn't it? They don't have a lot to do for long periods. He's been having to concentrate, watching his team dominate the game through the midfield and front areas, and all of a sudden it's called upon to make quite an important save.
It was an important save. It was really the first time that Paulista has been freed in this second half as well.
Yeah, as long as he got his position right, he was going to save it, but you need to concentrate to get your positions right.
Here's Emerton advancing, as he's done so often, particularly in this second half. Bentley inside of him. Emerton trying to get the better of two Wisła Kraków defenders. Piotr Broszek giving away the throw. Roberts trying to get in there. It's a momentous night for Jason Roberts, his first ever European tie. Nice play by McCarthy. Lucas Neal now. Roberts on the far, can't get there. It was a good header by Mihailovic. Here's Broszek. Looking for Paulista. Foot in by Oya. Here's Tugay. Kishanishvili.
Foul.
Roberts claims he was fouled and the referee agrees. He almost drew the foul, basketball style there, Jason Roberts, and it's in a presentable position, just slightly right of central. That was the offence. Foul by Kleber.
It's a quality ball forward, and he did well to pin the defender. Deserved his free kick there. Centre forwards can do a good job for you in those situations, winning free kicks there by being strong enough to want the ball and try to hold the ball up, even under the fiercest of challenges.
Well, there's a conversation between Messrs Savage and Bentley as Dolhart ensures that there is a large frame between he and Bentley. It's a training ground special which looked very enticing at first glance, but it wasn't to be. It's always good when teams get inventive on the training ground and then try and come up with something a little different on the field.
It's even better when one of your good strikers of the ball comes up and smashes it into the net from that distance. That's even better still.
Oya read it well. Savage, the goal scorer. Savage tried to get in there, but before he could, he was muscled out of it. Foul by Oya. That'll be a booking for the Dutchman. The fans in front of our commentary position jumping up, incensed with that challenge by Andre Oya. Actually, looking at that, it was a complete accident, wasn't it? He was not even looking there, he was just chasing the ball. But you can understand why the referee did administer a booking.
It was neat play from the Wisła team. They played themselves out of the pressurising extremely well there.
Now the referee's gone over to have a word with the assistant on the near side. Substitution is pending.
I think he's checking that he has not been booked before.
There's also, yes, that intriguing conversation.
There's so many yellow cards in the game these days, Alistair. It's a job sometimes to keep track of it yourself, who's been booked and who hasn't been booked.
Well, I only need to say the name Graham Poll, don't I?
Yeah, unfortunate for him. Referees are not allowed to make mistakes. Only coaches and players are allowed to make mistakes.
Well, this looks like it's going to be a long-range hit with that kind of run-up.
Going to play in the back post, I think.
Well, it was just a decoy, wasn't it? Mihailovic then floated it over. Good clearance by Emerton. Kleber had clipped it back into the box. Sobolewski muscled out of it, and then he tugged the shirt of Surab Kishanishvili. I mentioned that Wisła were trying to make a substitution. They are about to make it. Gives me an opportunity just to bring you a bit of football news. Just getting news of the sacking of Sheffield Wednesday manager Paul Sturrock following a 4-0 defeat yesterday evening, and indeed in charge of a team who reside in the bottom 4 of the championship table. Well, Radovanovic's night is complete. Krishalovic, the man to replace him. Krishalovic is an experienced striker who was being described to by one of the local journalists, who was telling me about a 35-metre shot he scored with at the weekend in their 6-0 win. So a man to be watched, clearly. 32 now, Pavel Krishalovic. 33 caps for his country. An experienced campaigner, no question. And something different for Blackburn Rovers to think about.
I think the most important factor for them is to keep concentrating. You know, these are the type of games where you dominate for long periods of the second half. They're thinking about winning it, and all of a sudden you lose a bit of concentration, and a rare strike at goal from the opposition sends you home with a defeat. So the concentration in this last 10 minutes is very important. They've got to keep the same shape, keep the work rate going, and make certain they don't lose the 1-1.
It's a really good ball in, meanwhile, and talking of concentration, it was Oya who got the header in. Surely offside, yes it was, against Paulista. Well offside, as you can see.
A fine piece of defending.
Fine piece of defending by Oyaya. Just a reminder, you're in the right place for your UEFA Cup football. Live on 5, back-to-back. Once this game is finished here in Poland, we go to Turkey, Besiktas against Spurs, and immediately that finishes, we're off to St James's Park for Newcastle United against Fenerbahce. It really is a top night of UEFA Cup group football. Rangers, of course, in action as well. 4 British sides in the group stages of the UEFA Cup. And of course we'll have news of that game. Rangers game out in Italy. Chance now, meanwhile, for Cantoro, who's juggling away, but did he have an opportunity to strike it first time there, Roy, and pass it up?
It would have been a difficult strike, but it was a possibility, yeah.
Here's Paulista, meanwhile.
They've created more chances in the last 2 minutes than they've done in the whole of the half up to now.
Yeah, the substitutions maybe have made a bit of a difference.
I think
Piotr Broszek, the first one, and Pavel Krishalovic, the second, of this second half at least. Meanwhile, talking of changes, Robbie Savage is coming off, and Aaron Mokwena is taking his place, and he was hobbling around a bit after an earlier challenge, and I suspect with Bolton Wanderers to come to Ewood Park on Sunday that that was in the back of Mark Hughes' mind with what, about 3 minutes of normal time to go.
That's a silly challenge.
Robbie Savage, though, has done his bit, hasn't he, with a terrifically taken header. It's a foul, meanwhile, by Kishanishvili, which has given Mr. Kraków a free kick. Here's Mihailovic. Nondar's gone with him. Emerton's there, and Mokwena with his first challenge since coming on. It's all very tight in there before Emerton gives Friedel time to thump it into the night sky. That should be Friedel's on the second bounce, and it is. Tugay. Just lost control of it.
I think he's entitled to one.
Absolutely. He may be the man who was the unfortunate provider of the deflection on the opening goal today, but his contributions has been superb since, and Jason Roberts' contribution was nearly telling. Another good save. McCarthy still not away, and in at last, and Blackburn have the lead, and Bentley is the hero. Everyone looked around at the assistants, at the referee, to see if anything had been given. Nothing had, and David Bentley has turned this game on its head. 1-0 down, 2-1 up, and deservedly so. Terrific play by Jason Roberts. Good goalkeeping, to be fair to the Romanian keeper, but he could do nothing about Bentley's third opportunity.
No, very good goal. Roberts is the man there. Good pass into him, good turn, and then he kept his head very well, I thought, too, after seeing his first shot saved, to cut it back well for McCarthy, and then the goalkeeper spilled that shot. But a fully deserved victory, if you ask me, for Blackburn, especially in the second half. They really have been quite clearly in control of the game, and I've always had the feeling that they could go on and win it, and maybe for once I'll be able to predict the result correctly. I don't get many right.
I think, in fairness, Tim Sherwood in the studio said the same thing from my recollection.
Good. I'd like to pass on my best wishes to Tim if that's possible.
Lucas Neal, meanwhile, is in need of assistance. Lucas Neal's now picked himself up. And although Emerton knocked it harmlessly away, the whistle didn't blow and plays continued. 2 minutes of added time. Came up on the fourth official board. And it has been, in many ways, a perfect European performance from Blackburn Rovers, Roy.
Very, very good. Very good indeed. They must be delighted. Good substitutions from Mark Hughes, I thought. The trident up front has worked very, very well. Two-guy pushing forward more in the second half has given them a bit more attacking power, and basically the back four have been very solid throughout the game. So I don't think Wisła will have too many complaints about the defeat. They've been quite clearly beaten by a better football team.
And the increasing influence of Two-guy pivotal, wasn't it?
Well, I think he's had a marvellous game, Two-guy. I don't know him that well. I see enough English football on the television, but I don't get a chance to watch so much of it live like I have today, and his influence has been outstanding. And I believe he's quite old, isn't he? So just goes to show you don't have to be 22.
Oh, a sliced shot by Nondar. It just opened up for him. It's a frightening thought for anybody in their 30s like myself that Roy believes that Two-guy at 35 is old, so it's a very depressing prospect. Anyway,
it's not as old as 60 anyway. No, the Finnish team, we have a lot of ageing players, and I think that as long as people retain their fitness levels, they get better and better with age. I mean, Two-guy's never been an explosive player. He's always been a player who likes to play like he's doing today with that type of movement, and he looks as good and as fit today as when I saw him play for Galatasaray more than 10 years ago. Great block.
Half opportunity for Cantoro, but that's the last action. And part one of the triple header on 5 goes the way of the English side. They fell behind to a cruel deflection, but they have come and turned this match completely around, and deservedly so, to win 2-1, courtesy of the birthday boy, Robbie Savage and David Bentley. We go next to Turkey for Beşiktaş against Tottenham, but it is so far so good. And just at that moment, there was a bit of trouble, and indeed players have come on and coaching staff have come on to calm raw nerves, and that all ended a little untidily. Well, maybe we'll find out more about that shortly, but it has finished here 2-1. So far so good for the English sides on 5.